Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sah Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Sadashivasamarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Shrutismriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavatpadam Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punaha. Samasta Jana Kalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram. Om Bhadram Karnebhi Shrunuyama Devaha Bhadram Pashyemakshabhiryajatraha Sthirairangai Stuštuvagum Sastanubhihi Vyashema Devahitam Yadayuhu Swasti na Indro Vridhashravah Swasti na Pusha Vishwavedaha Swasti nastarksho Arishtanemihi Swasti no Brihaspatir Dadhatu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om, salutations to all. So, fifth question is about Omkar Upasana, and the disciple Satyakama wants to know what will be the state of the person who does this Upasana but is not able to realize the self. When the person drops the body, what worlds will that person attain? So, in detail, we saw the conditions for the Upasana also. The word Abhidhyayita, how Bhagavan Shankaracharya ji, he said, withdrawing the senses and the mind, invoking devotion with that bhav that Omkar is Brahman himself. One has to do the Upasana and also follow values with it. So, list of values was also given. Satyam, Brahmacharya, Himsa, Aparigraha, Tyaga, Sannyasa, Shaucha, Santosham, Amayavitva, etc. So many values also one has to follow. Now, question was described. Now let us see what is the answer Pipalada Rishi gives. So this is the second mantra. Tasmai saho vacha etadvai satya kama param cha aparam cha brahma yadomkaraha tasmad vidvan etenaiva ayatanena ekataram anveti. So tasmai sahovacha, to him, meaning disciple Satyakam, etadvai Satyakam, param cha aparam brahma. He says Omkar is Parabrahma and Aparabrahma both. And hence, through this support, meaning using the Omkar as the support to do Upasana, the Upasak will attain either of these, Para or Aparabrahma. Why? Because Upasana Siddhant is that we become what we meditate upon. And the qualities of the meditated come into us. And here the meditated is that which is infinite. It is not something which is a finite jiva or just some qualities. The seeker here wants oneness with the Supreme, to experience that. So depending on what type of Upasana is done and how much is the identification of the Upasak with the Upasya, the person will get the result. Two results possible, Parabrahma or Aparabrahma. Now what is this Parabrahma and Aparabrahma? So before I go into the commentary, we have to understand this background of Vedanta is required in this. So Apara Brahma, when we say this whole world we see, then we have this bhav, I am this Mr. So and so, the Jiva, and there is a world outside there. And then there's a creator who is separate, who has created both these. Now Vedanta says consciousness identified with the total gross bodies, all the gross bodies put together is called Virat. Consciousness identified with the total subtle body, all the minds, intellect, memory, ego, all that, senses, pranas, that total subtle body is called Hiranyagarbha. These two are called Apara Brahma. Why they are called Apara Brahma? Because they are called Karya Brahma, or they are the effects. Then what is the cause? The cause is the total causal body, which is Ishvara or Antaryami. So, just like we see in our individual personality, there is a causal body, and it is called causal body because that causal body is the cause of the gross and the subtle body. Subtle and the gross body in that order. So causal body is avidya and vasanas. In the individual I'm talking, avidya and vasanas. And then subtle body is those 19 elements, 5 senses of knowledge, 5 senses of action, 5 pranas, mind, intellect, memory, ego, 19 aspects. Now vasanas of this causal body, for them to exhaust, they will manifest as desires in the intellect, thoughts in the mind, and which need body to experience. So then a gross body will be there. So the physical body made up of the 5 elements. So causal leads to subtle, leads to gross. At the time of death, gross body remains here, subtle causal body, they depart. As per karmas, one will go into appropriate lokas and get appropriate bodies, and the journey continues. Now, this what we see at the individual level is what is applied at the total level also. Because individuality presupposes totality. There cannot be an individuality without totality. Totality's expression, one expression is the individuality. Individual can perish, totality will remain. So, the upasak who meditates on either Virat, meaning this whole total universe is nothing but that supreme consciousness, that is called Virat Upasana. Through Omkar, one is doing that. How? We will see. The mantras ahead will explain. Or Upasak is meditating that all the subtle bodies put together is that supreme Hiranyagarbha. Hiranyagarbha is called Prathamaja, the firstborn, because Ishvara is causal body which is unmanifest. Total causal body is unmanifest. Then the first birth happens, which is the total subtle body, which is Hiranyagarbha, Mukhya Prana, different Sutratma. These are different names of that. And the Jiva meditates, Upasak meditates on that. Through both these Upasanas, the idea is to reduce the body identification, Jiva Bhav, and experience oneness with that totality. If one meditates on these two and one drops the body before one realizes the truth, then one will get the loka appropriately for Apara Brahma. If one is meditating on Ishvara, the total causal body, and one drops the body in that condition, then one will attain Brahma Loka. So Ishvara here is called Parabrahma. Please remember here Ishvara is not absolute Brahman, which is beyond name, form, causation, object. It's not beyond Deshakala Parichinna, Aparichinna, sorry. Deshakala Vastu Aparichinna. It is not that Brahman by itself. It is that Brahman conditioned by total causal body, which is called Parabrahma here, the Ishvara. And then that same Brahman identified with total subtle body is the Hiranyagarbha, and further with total gross body is the Virat. Now, depending on which level the Upasak is doing the Upasana, that result will come accordingly, which is what the mantra says. Tasmad Vidwan. Vidwan here means the Upasak. Etenaiva ayatanena. With this support of Omkar, one is doing this Upasana, one will attain Ekataram Anveti, any one. So, this is the basic meaning of the mantra. In all the three conditions here, whether one is doing Virat Upasana, Hiranyagarbha Upasana or Ishvara Upasana, the body is dropped before realizing the self. That, don't forget that, because that's the question. One has done the Upasana and then the body drops. What loka will that person get? So, now the teacher answers that one of them, the Parabrahma or Aparabrahma, one will attain. What does that mean? That will come ahead in the mantras also, it will come. Now let us see what Shankaracharya says here. One point, if somebody has a doubt that if causal body is avidya and vasana, then total causal body will be total avidya and total vasana. So then if individual is bound because of causal body, ignorance and vasanas, then Ishvara must be mahabound because all jivas, causal body and vasanas are there in that Ishvara. But that's the difference. Ishvara is that supreme Brahman knowing itself. Ishvara does not have avidya. It's only identification with that total causal body, and so it is in control. So Ishvara controlling Brahman controlling Maya only becomes that Ishvara. So avidya and vasanas are there, but they don't affect Ishvara at all. In our situation, we are the victims of that avidya and vasana because we have forgotten who we are. See, in a Jivan Mukta also, vasana is playing, but avidya is gone. The Jivan Mukta knows I am Brahman and his vasana belongs to this body, mind, intellect. That is called Jivan Mukti. So Ishvara is like that, fully aware of one's own true self, that I am consciousness. And actually from Brahman standpoint, there is no Jiva, Jagat, Ishvara at all. That is only from our standpoint. When we are seeing Jagat, we say, okay, then there is a Jagadishvara. Who is that Jagadishvara? That Brahman plus Maya. But Maya is not controlling that Brahman. Brahman is controlling that Maya. So Brahman is never affected by that Maya. So total causal body, avidya, total avidya will not affect Brahman. Ishvara is not Maha Ajnani. Ishvara is Jnana Swarup only. So that one must be clear about. Now, going ahead with this, just give me 1 minute. So, Shankaracharya explains further now. Iti Prishtavate Tasmai Saho Vacha. When this question was asked by Satyakam, Pipalada Rishi spoke. Etadvai Satyakama. Etad Brahma vai param cha aparam cha Brahma. This Omkar itself is para and apara Brahma. Etad Brahma vai param cha aparam cha Brahma. Then what is param? Param satyam aksharam purushakhyam. So the param Brahma is the supreme truth, imperishable, called also as Purusha. So that is what we see is Ishvara. Purusha and Prakriti, that connection is for Ishvara only. Because otherwise it is imperishable Brahman, non-dual, Advaya Brahma it is. There is no doubt, there is no questions, there are no Jiva, Jagat, Ishvara, nothing. So here Param Brahma refers to Ishvara. What is Apara Brahma? Aparam cha Pranakhyam Prathamajam. Apara Brahma is Prana. Now again, remember Prana here means the total Prana, which is the Hiranyagarbha here. One meaning of the word Prana and Prathamaja is Hiranyagarbha, total subtle body. And why it is called Prathamaja? Because the first born is Hiranyagarbha. Ishvara is Avyakta. Then Hiranyagarbha is born. Then that further becomes Virat. Same way in us also, when we wake up from deep sleep, so deep sleep is we are unmanifested. Then this I will rise, Mr. So and so, which further identifies with the gross body. Then one says, I am a man, I am a woman, I am a son of so and so, father of so and so, friend of so and so. Further crystallization of that small I will happen. What is that small I? That big I only identified with one equipment. Same way, the Supreme Infinite identified with total equipment is Ishvara, called total causal body. From there, the first thought is born. The first, manifestation is Hiranyagarbha, the total subtle body. That's why it's called Prathamaja. Then further the gross, which is Virat. So this Pranakhyam Prathamajam, and by saying this, the Virat also gets included in this. Separately, Shankaracharya has not written Virat, but we have to understand Virat is implied. So Parabrahma is Ishvara in this context, Aparabrahma is Hiranyagarbha and Virat. Yat tad Omkara eva. So this Omkar is both. Omkar, yat tad Omkara eva. Omkaratmakam Omkara pratikatvat. Because the form in which one meditates on that Omkar, one should not think of that Omkar only as some alphabet or some sound. It is Brahman only. So pratika, meaning it's a symbol. Symbol of what? Of this Parabrahma and Aparabrahma. And it depends on the Upasak, what is the Bhavana one ascribes to Omkar, which superimposes on the Omkar. Even in Bhakti Shastra, that is what it says, no? Jaki rahi bhavana jaisi, Prabhu Murat tina dekhiya taisi. As per the bhavana, one sees the form of the Lord based on one's own bhav. The same form may be there. 4 devotees come into a temple. One devotee will say, Bhagwan is smiling today. Another devotee say, Bhagwan is very angry today. Somebody says, Bhagwan is looking very lovingly at me. Someone says, Bhagwan is very indifferent to me. Murti is the same, but each one has different bhav in their mind, different sambandha with Bhagwan. So their expressions are different, their feelings are different. Same way, Omkar is both Parabrahma, Aparabrahma, Ishvara, Hiranyagarbha and Virat. Because it's the symbol of that Brahman only. Omkara Rupa, Omkara Pratikatvat. Omkaratmaka, Omkara Pratikatvat. Now, Param hi Brahma Shabdadi Upalakshanan Arham sarvadharma vishesha varjitam ato na shakyam atindriya gocharatvat kevalena manasa avagahitum. Now the Supreme Brahman cannot be expressed by words, cannot be grasped by the mind, because it is devoid of all qualities. It is also unmanifest. As Brahman also it is indescribable, as Ishwar also it is unmanifest. So he says, Sarva Dharma Vishesha Varjitam Ato Na Shakyam. So it is not possible to describe that Brahman. And it is not possible to grasp it as an object, like how we grasp different things in the world. So mind is the subject and it understands something as an object as different from itself, because it is finite, it has name, it has form, it has properties. So one can grasp with the mind. So one can see the forms, one can understand, okay, this is a computer, we use it for whatever, email and word processing and designing and all these things, so that properties are known, form is known, utility value is known. Same way it knows subtle things also. What is love, what is anger, what is fear, one experiences in different states, so one is able to understand. Still subtler intellectual ideas, goals, exploring the unknown, discovering new things, inventing new things, doing innovation, creativity, all this the subtle body can do, because in the realm of the finite. But that which is having no name, no form, no qualities, beyond space, time, causation, objects, how to grasp that? So he says it is not possible to grasp that Supreme Brahman. So how to do experience that now? So mind has to become ready. Upasana is meant for that. So though Brahman by itself doesn't have any name, form, qualities, then how to do this? How to prepare this mind? So Upasana will help. And in this Upasana, we are speaking about Omkar Upasana. Now comes a very important line. If you want, you can underline that. Omkaretu Vishnu Adi Pratima Sthaniye Bhaktya Brahma Bhave Dhyayinam Tat Prasidati Iti Etad Avagamyate Shastra Pramanyat Tatha Aparam Cha Brahma. So this Ishvara is very difficult to grasp like that, because unmanifest, beyond name, form, qualities. But that same Ishvara one can do, one can meditate as manifest. Let's see, Hiranyagarbha is manifest. So that same Ishvara is manifest in various forms like Vishnu, etc. So Vishnu, Shiva, Ganesh, Durga, Devi, all these forms which are there. What bhakti one has towards these forms, that bhav one must have towards Omkar as Brahman. That's what he says. Omkar etu Vishnu adi pratima sthaniye bhaktya veshita Brahma bhave. For the devotee, Vishnu Bhagwan's murti or the Shaligram is not stone. There is bhav, there is feeling. This is Bhagwan. Meaning the Supreme Creator. One may not know technically Ishvara is unmanifest, this is Hiranyagarbha and all that, but Bhavana is this is Bhagwan, the Supreme Lord. That simple Bhavana, somebody may know also, but not necessarily everybody has to know that. The feeling is this is the Supreme Lord representing totality. I am a Jiva. I am the individual. That much one knows. So one surrenders to that totality. And one has bhakti, one has bhavana, one builds a sambandh. What one is doing with that Supreme Lord, meaning that form, the bhavana that one has, same way one has to meditate on Omkar, not to think that Omkar is some sound symbol, and not to think that Omkar Upasana means no need of a bhakti. This is the one line, that's why I'm saying very important, because those who say, no, I don't believe in form, can I just chant Om? It's not just sound, it is Brahman. What is your bhavana behind that? Do you understand that as Brahman, as the supreme consciousness? And is there a bhav in the mind? Because without bhavana, the mind will wander only. This Vedana only, full sadhana is Vedana. We have seen this earlier in Prashnopanishad, it came. Sadhana without bhavana is Vedana only. Sadhana with bhavana gives prerana. So when one does Omkar Upasana, Om, one is chanting. What is the feeling? That Om is that supreme Brahman. Om iti ekaksharam Brahma. And I'm meditating on that supreme Om. With the same bhavana that one has towards Sagun Sakar, one has to meditate on Sagun Nirakar. So Bhaktyaveshita Brahma Bhave. And how Bhagwan, Vishnu or Ganesha, Durga, Devi, whichever form one is meditating on, that form's blessing will come, that Bhagwan's blessing will come to the devotee. Prasidati is the word used here. Tat prasidati dhyayinam prati Brahma Bhave. So the grace of this Supreme Lord manifests through that particular form on the devotee. Iti etad avagamyate. Shastra Pramanyata. Now, how do we know that? Because Shastra is saying, and there are enough examples of devotees who have done Sagun Sakar Upasana. They have had darshan of their Supreme Lord. They have been blessed with various things that they need. Shastra also says that. Shastra Pramanyat, Tatha cha aparam Brahma. So when one meditates on Ishvara, when one meditates on this Hiranyagarbha or Virat through this Omkar, that supreme consciousness will bestow its grace and blessings on this devotee of Omkar also. Now you just think about it. Those people who have this kind of intellectual vanity that, we are not form worshippers, we don't believe in duality, we don't believe in this, that, ritual, this, that. Omkar also is Brahman only. As long as I have Jiva Bhav, I need the Anugraha of Ishvara, full stop. Without that, it is not possible. Ishvara here means Supreme Lord, that Supreme Brahman. So when I meditate on Omkar and I have the bhav that this is the total subtle body or this is the total gross body or this is Supreme Brahman, whatever I meditate upon as my upasana, in my upasana, through that the form of the Lord or the sound symbol of the Lord will bestow its grace on the jiva. Otherwise, what is the point of doing that upasana? Upasana is to reduce jiva bhav. Now, what will help to reduce jiva bhav? Bhakti, Sharanagati, surrender, identification with the Supreme, dropping Dehatma bhav. That is the purpose of upasana. Now, if somebody says, no, I don't believe in all this, then jiva bhav is going to be strong. Then why are you doing upasana? No, I want some material benefit. Then that you can do. We are talking about realization here. If somebody says, I am meditating on Lord Ganesha, he may remove my obstacles, I will get a good job or I will get this particular salary. Sakama karma one can keep doing. Here we are talking about realization. So those who are seekers of realization, they have to choose Sagun Sakar or Sagun Nirakar. And in that have the same bhav. No difference, you see that? Now, Swami, I find it very difficult, Vishnu and all. I don't know Vishnu and Krishna and, Shiva and all. I don't even have the Shraddha whether form exists and all that. And, I'm not that bhakti type, Swamiji. So, is it okay if I do Omkar Upasana? The Omkar Upasana, you will see what it is actually. If you are ready for it, go ahead and do it. But if you say, no, I don't have bhakti and I want to do Omkar Upasana, then it is not possible. Then you are just chanting a sound and trying to concentrate the mind. It will have some very limited impact of some single pointedness. Beyond that, nothing more will happen. Bhavana has to be invoked. So that's why he says here, Omkaretu Vishnu Adi Pratima Sthaniye Bhaktya Veshita Brahma Bhave Dhyayinam Tat Prasidati. And the grace will come. The grace will happen on. Now somebody says, we are followers of Advaita. Why do I need grace of somebody else? Now, please remember, we may be followers of Advaita, but right now we are operating from Dvaita only. We are this body, Mr. So and so, that is very strong. And that has to go. Dehabhimane galite, that Dehabhimana has to go. And the more the Dehabhimana goes, more one will experience absorption in the Supreme. Yatra yatra mano yati tatra tatra samadhaya. If the body identification goes, wherever the mind goes, one experiences samadhi because one sees everything as Brahman. Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, he sees the Mother Kali even in the red light area where he is taken. He was taken there to delude him, but he is seeing there, he says, Ma, 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 he goes into samadhi. That is the mind. The jiva has dropped that dehatma bhav, and the upasana is so powerful that one comes into the bhav. But that's called bhav samadhi. So that is upasana. And then such a mind can do steady contemplation on Brahman. That is nididhyasana. Now, if we don't have bhavana only at upasana level, but we have bhavana for samsara. It's not that we are without bhavana. Our contradiction is this. We have enough bhavana for samsara and for enjoyments and for victory and for success and power, position, all kinds of things. We have enough feeling for all that. And then we say also, Swamiji, I'm very attached to my child. What can I do? Do Bhagavan's upasana. That's the method. Direct all that bhavana towards Bhagavan. Nobody is saying become bhavana shunya. Direct it to Bhagavan. And see the Lord only in the child also. So don't think of the child as my child. Think of the child as Bhagavan's child it is. And I am here serving that Supreme Lord. Then the bhavana will be more towards Bhagavan. It will develop. So we have bhavana, but bhavana has to be channelized properly towards that Supreme. Choices are what? Either choose Sagun Sakar or choose Sagun Nirakar, but in both bhakti and bhavana is required. It is not different. Then why will somebody choose Sagun Nirakar? If one feels that it is more easier to understand Brahman as the totality, using the symbol Om, one may use Sagun Nirakar. It is not that one is inferior, other is superior. Our mind goes all the time into that what is superior, what is inferior. Continuous comparison it goes on doing in everything. This cloth is better, that cloth is not better. This person is better, that person is not better. Vyavahar, whatever we require to do, we can do, but we then apply in everything. It is one Brahman only. So your son comes in the form of, let us say, in a fancy dress competition, he wears a police uniform and comes. And your own son comes then as a sportsman. And then your son comes as your son. When he finishes the competition, he comes back. Will you say that that sportsman is superior than this son? Because he had so many gadgets, so many accessories, and there's a helmet and then cricket bat and pads and this and that, so many. And this son is very ordinary. That is better, this is not better. It is same son. You love that also, you love him also. Both are same. Just the external form is different. That's all it is. Subtlety wise, one may say Sagun Sakar is more grosser and Sagun Nirakar is more subtler, but that is only to make a choice that am I ready for the subtle. It's not that this is greater and that is lesser. It's not like that. This has less, this has more support. Sagun Sakar has more support. Sagun Nirakar has lesser supports. Nirgun Nirakar has minimum support. Beyond that is no support. I have to choose whether I can walk the path with support maximum, with less support, with minimum support, or with no support. That's up to me. Brahman is the same. There is no difference. So bhavana comes for what? That I have to see. For majority of us, it is Sagun Sakar only. Whether we like it or not, that is where we are. There are some who can do Sagun Nirakar, whose identification is much more with the totality, so they don't see the form. Even Sagun Sakar finally has to understand that only, no? That this Vishnu Bhagavan is not just the form in front of me, he is that reality pervading everything. So whatever service I do to anyone, that is a service to the Lord only. From the altar, the vision of the devotee expands to cover the whole universe. Jagata Ishadhi Yukta Sevanam Ashtamurti Bhrut Deva Pujanam. Ramana Maharsh's definition of puja is that to have the bhavana of the Supreme Lord in the whole universe, that Bhagavan pervades the whole universe, which is Virat Upasana, Hiranyagarbha Upasana, Ishwar Upasana is the same. So these are the aspects. In Sagun Nirakar is Omkar Upasana also, this bhav has to come. And Omkar is that Supreme Lord who will bless the devotee also. Don't think Omkar is an alphabet. Omkar is that Brahman only who will bless. Prasidati. Shastra Pramanyat Tatha Aparamcha Brahma. Tasmat, hence, Paramcha Aparamcha Brahma Yad Omkara Iti Upacharyate. So whether it is Parabrahma or Aparabrahma, it is Omkar only. Tasmad evam vidwan etenaiva atma prapti sadhanena. And hence this vidwan, meaning this upasak, this seeker, atma prapti sadhanena. Please remember that line. It is for the realization of the self we are talking right now, not talking about some sakama karma. For realization of the self, this person is preparing oneself. Sadhanena. What is the sadhana? Upasana is the sadhana. Omkara abhidhyanena. What Upasana is doing here? Omkar Upasana. He or she, whoever it is, doing Omkar Upasana. Ekataram param aparam va anveti. Will attain any one. Either Parabrahma or Aparabrahma. Why only one? Parabrahma and Aparabrahma. Why can't they get both? The qualities of both are different. One is manifest, other is unmanifest. And you will see the results as they come. And also the Upasana is not easy to do. One Upasana of Aparabrahma itself has two categories. Upasana of Virat separate, Upasana of Hiranyagarbha separate. Separate in the sense exclusive. That itself is not easy to do. One. Now you said two is Aparabrahma Upasana, and then three. Why we need all this? All the three. Any one can do. Because the purpose of Upasana is that single pointedness, surrender and Jiva Bhav should reduce. One is enough. So you just see the level, just see the importance of single pointedness in Upasana. Like we say in Bhakti Shastra, you don't need to worship so many forms. We may respect all forms, there is no doubt, and we should respect all forms because they are forms of Bhagavan only, Supreme Brahman only. But choose only one form for Upasana because the purpose of Upasana is single pointedness and surrender. So, of so many forms, choose one Ishta Devata. Suppose we say Vishnu. Even in Vishnu, there are so many forms Vishnu Bhagavan takes. In that, choose whichever one form. Suppose you say, I choose Krishna Swamiji. Even in Krishna, there are so many forms. Bala Krishna is there, and Yuva Krishna is there, and Arjun's teacher is there. So many different forms of Krishna. Which one will you choose? Choose one. That is becoming specific. As per my temperament, I have to choose one. Then fully worship that form. Don't look left and right. Same way in Omkar also. two upasanas are for Aparabrahma. One is for Parabrahma, meaning Virat and Hiranyagarbha. 2. Then Ishvara. 3. In that you will see the upasak will identify with only any one. The faster I arrive at one, the faster will be my progress. That's a Siddhanta of Upasana. That's why it's no use of going on, changing one form, other form, this, that. Stick to one and keep moving. It is not to make us fanatic. It is to give single pointedness. So one will attain, and as per that, one will attain the result. So he says, aparam, ekataram, param, aparam va anveti. And Shankaracharya himself saying, and mantra itself is saying that. Mantra is saying that tasmad vidyavan etenaiva ayatanena ekataram anveti. Upanishad itself is saying that. Choose one. Because finally that one also will be dropped. After Upasana is done, Nididhyasana happens, one realizes I am that one Supreme Brahman, I am not this Jiva at all. Gone, that Upasya Vastu only is gone. The form is gone. The entire creation itself is gone in realization. That's the purpose. Atma Jnana, it was said, no? Earlier. Atma Prapti Sadhana. When we realize the Atma, the Supreme, all supports, everything gone. That's what Kenopanishad says. The final stage of contemplation for a seeker is that yan manasa na manute yena ahur manomatam tadeva brahma tadviddhi nedam yadidam upasate. Understand that this mind cannot grasp Brahman, but it is that because of which the mind is able to grasp other objects. Know that to be Brahman, which illumines the mind, not this which you worship. The Upanishad itself will reject Upasana at that highest level. When one is ready for this Nididhyasana on the Supreme Self. But to come to that, I have to follow this. Atma Prapti Sadhana is choose one and go headlong into that. No need to look left and right. Shankaracharya worship Lord Shiva, full stop. Mirabai worship Lord Krishna. Mere to Giridhar Gopal, dusro na koi. She is very clear on that. For Hanumanji is Ram Kaj Karibeko Atur. Only Bhagwan Ram. He is Sevak of Ramadut. He is Sevak of Ram. He says Ramadut Mai Matu Janaki. Oh Mother Janaki, I am Ramdut. That's his identity. He doesn't say I am Hanuman, the son of Vayu. Ramadut Mai Matu Janaki. I am Ramdut. So for Ramakrishna, it is Mother Kali. He doesn't see. Other people may find it difficult saying, oh, what a terrible Ugra Rupa it is, and black color Kali fully everywhere with so many weapons, and then red tongue is standing out and eyes are like this open, very scary. For Ramakrishna, she is my mother. He just is fully absorbed in devotion and he goes into Samadhi thinking about mother. So one, choose any one. That is important. So he says ekataram. So depending on which upasana he is doing, the upasak is doing, because Omkar will have all the four possibilities. A, U, Ma and Amatra, the silence between two Oms. These are four matras of Om. Mandukya Upanishad explains that. So A represents Virat. That's what the next mantras will say. A is representing Virat Upasana, U represents Hiranyagarbha Upasana, Ma represents Ishwar Upasana. Prashnopanishad speaks only of these three. Prashnopanishad does not speak of Amatra Om because the question is when one does Upasana and if the body drops before realization, which loka will one go to? So the journey is incomplete for the seeker. Hence, the fourth matra is not explained in this Prashnopanishad. Whichever loka that jiva goes to, there the jiva will continue the seeking till realizing the nature of Brahman, which is beyond these three. So that's why one he says, ekataram va anveti, brahma anugachati, nedishtam hi alambanam omkaro brahmanaha. And this person will ultimately experience Brahman through this upasana. Why? Because Omkar Upasana. So this Omkar is the closest symbol of Brahman. Closest meaning the best symbol to describe Brahman is Omkar. The shortest mantra is Om. Most powerful mantra is Om. It is the indicator of the Supreme Brahman, which is transcendental, as well as that same Brahman appearing as this whole world. Omiti Yedagam Sarvam. So Ishvara, Hiranyagarbha and Virat also is represented in Om. And beyond these three, the Turiya, the transcendental state of Brahman also is depicted by Om. So Omkar can be used for Upasana, Omkar can be used for Nididhyasana. And in Upasana, A, U and Ma, three categories of Upasana. So depending on whatever Upasana one does, one will attain that result and continue one's journey of seeking till realization does not happen. So Omkar is the best symbol indicating Brahman, Nedishtham. It also means Omkar is like a shortcut. Shortcut in the sense there is no way to cut, there is no shortcut that way, but it is the best symbol that describes Brahman, and meditating on that, it is closest, because before Nirgun Nirakar comes the Sagun Nirakar, and below that, meaning with more support, is Sagun Sakar. So in that way it is more closer to Brahman. And by itself, A, U, Ma and Amatra, they are the descriptions, or they are the indicators of Brahman, the best indicators. So as though Omkar is the closest to Brahman. In other things, there is a lot to negate. Name is there, form is there, qualities are there, so many things are there to negate. Here it is the Bhavana is Omkar. Omkar is all this. So now, having explained the principle in the second mantra, now he elaborates what is that Omkar Upasana. And depending on which Upasana of Omkar one is doing, A Upasana or U Upasana or Ma Upasana, one will get appropriate results. So you see the depth in which the Upanishad goes. It does not say that, okay, if you do Omkar Upasana, you will go to Brahmalok, you will get Krama Mukti, finished. It's more easy to say for Sagun Sakar. If you worship Vishnu, you will go to Vaikuntha Loka. If you worship Shiva, you go to Kailas. If you worship Ram, you go to Saket. You worship Krishna, you go to Golok. So there are lokas. So you just go there, and from there you get, depending on what level of mukti you seek, you will get. But for Omkar Upasana, he says it depends on you which level of Upasana you are doing. Now you think about it. We think that Omkar Upasana is just chanting Om. Chanting is Om only. All Upasaks will chant Om. It's not that some Upasak will say another will say Oo. Upasana does not mean well goes on chanting Don't imagine that. While chanting Omkar, Om only, what is the feeling? The focus is on the Virat, represented by A. Focus is on Hiranyagarbha, represented by U. Focus is on Ishvara, represented by Ma. Chanting is Om only. So keep that in mind. Now the third mantra, he says about the first matra. So A is the first matra, U is the second matra, Ma is the third matra. So the first matra Upasana, what will be the result? That is said. Sa yadi ekamatram abhidhyayita sa tenaiva samveditaha turnameva jagatyam abhisampadhyate tam richo manushya-lokam upanayante sa tatra tapasa brahmacharyena shraddhaya sampanno mahimanam anubhavati. Sa yadi, if that person Omkaram abhidhyayita is meditating on Omkar only, which is to say that he's not saying meditating on Omkar only, but Eka. Yadi ekamatram abhidhyayita, if that person is chanting Om and focusing on the first matra, then sa teneva samveditaha, then completely identified with that. Samvedita here means tadatmya, tanmayata, identification. See, today we have identification with this body. I am this jiva, Mr. So and so, fully identified with it. Upasana is to reduce this identification by identifying with the upasya, that I am not this, I am one with the whole universe. I am that total gross body. I am not this one gross body. So from the identification of one gross body, one says, I am that total gross body. I am that Virat. Please remember that is called Virat Upasana. Virat Upasana is not that we say that, I am worshipping the totality. Virat Upasana is, I am that total subtle body, total gross body. And who is that I? Not Mr. Ego, not so and so, Mr. Ego I. It is the Brahman. That's why the understanding of Vedanta is important. Then that Upasana becomes relevant. Without that, the Upasana will not give result. So the understanding is, I am that total gross body. All these are appearances of one consciousness alone, and that one consciousness appearing as this whole universe is me. That is called Virat Upasana. So in the daytime, one will serve everyone as the manifestation of that consciousness. In the Upasana, one will say, I am not this, I am that one. Consciousness identifying with all. Virat Upasana. So Samvedita means that total identification has happened, and that is how one drops the identification with the lower. So Samveditaha Turnameva Jagatyam Abhisampadhyate. Now, if this person identified with the Virat drops the body before realizing Brahman, then one will be born in this world. One will not go to other yonis, other worlds, One will not go to other worlds. Meaning, the person wants to realize Brahman. So, one may, please remember the Sanchit Karma is there, no? Total Karma bank. From that, which karma will give result when? We don't know. Now, after this Upasana, suppose some karma is done which gives me result. In the past, I have done some karma for which I have to go into the yoni of a tiger, let us say. Now I have to go in that yoni and then wait till the next Sanchit Karma is ready to give me result for a human body, then I will get human body. That is a normal course of evolution. For the Upasak, the Upanishad says, if that person is identified with the total, with Virat, then that person will not go to other lokas. So sometimes it may be one goes into, my example was not very clear. The person may go to whatever, Swarga Loka or, Pitru Loka or Mahar Loka, Jana Loka, or even go down to Atala, Vitala, Sutala, Talatala, Rasatala, depending on what karma is ready to give result. One will go to other lokas. Here, Bhagavan Upanishad says, no, Jagatyam Abhisampadhyate. One will come to this earth only. That Sanchit Karma's fructification of some other, going to some other loka will not happen. The power of Upasana will ensure this. Not only one will come into this world, one will not go into any other yoni. See that, tam richo manushya lokam upanayante. That person will be born in the manushya yoni. And the Rig Veda mantras will ensure, the devatas of Rig Veda will ensure this jiva doesn't go to any other loka, does not go to any other yoni on this earth, will come into Manusha yoni only. Where did Rigveda mantra come in this now? So, u and ma, the presiding deity, sorry, not presiding deity, the matra is presided by Rigveda mantra devatas. Matra u is presided by Yajurveda mantra devatas. Matra ma is presided by Samaveda deva mantras. Samaveda mantra devatas. So, if I have done upasana of that Virat, the consciousness identifying with this total gross body, then the Rigveda mantra, who are the devatas, Rigveda mantra devatas who are presiding over this matra, they will lead me to this. They are like the attendants. So if you have to meet some great man, there will be some attendant who will lead you to that person. Please come, and this room you can go now. Like that, these devatas will say, now you please come, get born in this Manusha yoni. They will ensure that the Sanchit karma, if it requires you to go to any other loka or any other yoni, that does not happen, because the upasana phala is so strong that the jiva will go to Manusha yoni. And even in that Manusha yoni, sa tatra tapasa brahmacharyena shraddhaya sampannaha. In such a Manusha yoni, in such a place in the human species, one will be born, that not in some place where there is no spiritual samskar or there is no possibility of doing any sadhana and absolutely materialistic way of living and struggling. One will be born where one can do tapasya, one can live in brahmacharya, one can have shraddha. So the journey will continue from where one left. See what the Gita says, no, is from these Upanishads only. Tatratam buddhi samyogam labhate paurvadehikam. A person, when Arjuna asked Bhagavan that question, that if I live in self-control, I don't enjoy pleasures of the world, but if I don't realize the self also, then I have lost this also, I lost that also. Then what is my condition? Will I become like that clouds which appear to be giving rain, that it will rain now, but one blow of wind and all the clouds get scattered. So will all my effort go waste? That's why Bhagavan says that no, it will not go waste. Nothing that a seeker does will go waste. Nahi kalyana kris kachchit durgatim tata gacchati. And that person is called a yoga bhrashta. That person will be born in the next body as the human being if one has done this upasana properly. So once a human, always a human is not applicable for general situations. That with the karma, sanchit karma will decide which yoni one will get, and that's why one says Manusha yoni is very rare to get. Because when the time will come to get Manusha yoni, we don't know. But for an upasak who has done this intense upasana, till one doesn't realize the mantra, the power of the upasana will ensure that the jiva gets the Manusha yoni, because that's the only yoni conducive for realization. This is what we say. When people say, when the great rishis, they say that if a seeker walks the path with sincerity, resolution, entire prakriti will ensure that that seeker is supported. Obstacles may come. There is not that obstacle will never come, but prakriti will provide the seeker the opportunities, and it will favor the seeker. Now look at this, such a big favor it is. Now if you imagine roaming in which all yonis, whichever loka, bapre, when will again the jiva come into this body, and then how will the seeking continue? When will one realize? So the kripa of which Bhagavan is there, Guru's blessings are there, and the Upanishad Shastra kripa is there. So these devatas will ensure. And see, Bhagavan only has appointed all this. Now the system is created by the Lord only. That these devatas will ensure that this person gets this Manushya Loka, doesn't go into any Swarga Loka or Naraka Loka and all these. Comes to Manushya Loka, comes to Bhuloka, in that Manushya Yoni, in that a situation where one gets the appropriate body for continuing the sadhana. अथवा योगिनामेव कुले भवति धीमताम शुचीनाम श्रीमताम गेहे योग भ्रष्टो भी जायते. One will be born in the kul of a yogi. So this is what the upasana's result will be, that one will come. Akara upasana result will be one comes into Manushya Loka, into Bhuloka in Manushya Yoni. If one has not realized the self, after doing upasana, nididhyasana didn't happen, jivan mukti didn't happen, then the journey has to continue from where one left. This is the proof of that. And you see examples which are proof of that also. Swami Shivanandaji was born in the yogis family. Gurudev was born into such a family. Very religious, pious, devoted family. And from childhood he got the Mahatma Satsang. You just imagine. Chattambi Swamigal, such a great Mahatma. He used to whisper things into the ears of Gurudev, and once he told the parents also, I have taught him what he needs to know. Where it is possible to get otherwise. The Manushya Yoni, and then in that also seekers only are few. So to be born in the house of a seeker or the conducive environment where one will be able to continue the sadhana, not easy. That's why one says Ishwar Kripa, Shastra Kripa, Guru Kripa, all that is required for this sadhana to continue. And all that is there. Sadhak has to be sincere and walk the path. That's all is required. Everything else will come. So this is the meaning of the mantra. And Shraddhaya Sampanna Mahimanam Anubhavanti, and there that person attains glory and finally realizes the self. So now let us see the explanation. What does Shankaracharya ji say? Sa yadyapi omkarasya sakala matra sa yadi api omkarasya sakala matra vibhagagno na bhavati. See, even if one doesn't know all the three matras and then akara, ukara, makara, as I said, technically one may not know, but one is doing Omkar Upasana, chanting Om, and one is saying that Omkar represents that supreme Brahman who manifests as all this entire creation, and I serve everyone as a manifestation of Brahman, and in Omkar I meditate on meditate in my heart on that Omkar is that Brahman and I am one with that. So I am not this body, mind, intellect. One says I am that total body, mind, intellect. So one may not know Akar Upasana is done like this, Ukar is done like this, Makar is done like this. Tathapi Omkar Abhidhyana Prabhavad Vishishtam Eva Gatim Gacchati. So even if one doesn't know technically, just the Omkar Upasana if one does and one is chanting Om and with Bhavana that this is Supreme Brahman, one will get this special result. Vishishtam Eva Gatim Gacchati. One will get this special Gati. And please know there is Vishishta Gati. It's not normal Gati. Normal Gati will be as per Sanchit Karma, whichever Loka, whichever Yoni one will get. That one will continue. Millions of years it will take. Here is Vishishta Gati. Etad Eka Desha Jnana Vaigunyat Vaigunyatayo Omkara Sharanaha Karma Jnanayo Karma Jnanobhaya Bhrashto Na Durgatim Gacchati. So now he says that just because one is meditating on Omkar and one matra, It is not that one will not get the appropriate result. One will get. It is not that, where he says that ekamsha jnana rup dosha, that only one matra so you will not get the result. No, one will still get the result. So one does not have to get worried. Oh, I don't know so many technicalities. What was said earlier, that much is enough. Bhavana, with that bhav, this is Omkar, I am doing the Upasana. And what is the knowledge behind it? Either you say I am one with total gross body, or you say I am one with total subtle body, or you say I am one with total causal body, or more. Any one you do. It does not mean that you will not get the result. That's what Shankaracharya is saying. That is the assurance. And it's not that, karma jnana ubhaya bhrashtaha. So that one has left the karma and one has not attained jnana. So one has, like Arjun's question, lives in self-control, drops selfishness, does selfless karma, but one has not realized the self yet. So ito bhrashta, tato bhrashta. So gone in the world also, didn't achieve any glory, success, name, fame, all that. Didn't realize Brahman also. The commentary here is saying that, don't worry at all. You will get the Vishishta Gati. In the world, it appears that, the seeker didn't get anything. That is because we are seeing from one limited standpoint. We think that, Mirabai lost everything. She was the Maharani and she was a queen, and then she lost all that. And now then she was roaming in the streets as one ordinary woman and, begging. What did she do? What did she gain? What is the point? She realized oneness with Supreme Lord Krishna. Full stop. In between, it appears like that, as though ita brashta, tato brashta. Gone from here also, gone from there also. As though one has lost everything. But it is not true. Outsiders will think like that, who don't know what is a spiritual path, who have not walked the path, who don't have that much bhakti and bhav. They think that the seeker has lost. That's why they go on discouraging people. Arey, don't go on the spiritual path. Then you will lose this also. You may not get that also. Then what is the point? Arey. Anyway, we are going to lose everything. So-called things in samsara, what are we going to carry with us? Nothing. After we are dead, even if we are famous, what is a big deal? No, Swamiji, I am famous right now only. So what? How many people will know me? How does it matter? My Jiva Bhav still remains. No, even if the whole world knows me, so what? I may be the most powerful person in the world. So what? I am still one ordinary Jiva. One finite entity identified with the body. That's all I am. Whereas the human possibility is that in this human birth, I will realize infinite. Compared to infinite, what is any achievement in the world? Nothing it is. It's time bound, it will perish. So this firm vairagya, Vivek one has done, no? That is called Nitya Nitya Vastu Vivek. What is eternal and what is ephemeral? One should know very clearly. And then, having decided I want the eternal, one walks with steadiness. One doesn't look left and right. Oh, this person is prospering so much. Oh, that person achieved this much. Oh, where am I? I didn't go. I didn't pursue all this, and I know spiritual path I'm doing, but I don't think I'm reaching anywhere, Swamiji. Pata nahi kya ho raha hai? Why am I even doing this? I think I wasted my life. Such thoughts may come at some points in time in our mind. If our Vivek, Vairagya, Bhakti is not strong, such thoughts will come because human mind compares. Then one wonders, what did I make a right choice? Maybe I should not have made this choice. Maybe all this is humbug. Maybe all this is just some Brahmins have written all this. I don't think all this is true. All those thoughts come and then one starts doubting. Upanishad says, don't worry, you will not lose all this. You will attain a Vishishta Gati, whereby you will finally realize the Supreme. You are on the way. How strange it would be, na, if one says, just a limited example, suppose the train has left from Chennai, it has to come to Mumbai. Now you are on the journey, you are in between. Now suddenly the train has stopped. There is a, let us say, a engine failure, the train has stopped. What will one think? What is the use? I should not have boarded this train at all. Unnecessarily now engine has stopped. Now I am neither in Chennai nor in Mumbai. Atak gaya beech mein. Arey, if you are on the way, that engine will get replaced, your journey will continue, full stop. That's all it is. Don't despair at that time. So I am doing Upasana, it will have result. I may not see the result tangibly immediately. Intangible result is a lot. So one continues. So with that Shraddha one should do. That Bhagwan is there, he knows what I seek, I am sincerely walking the path, he will take care. I will do as per what the Shastra is telling me. I have got the opportunity to listen to this. How many people even get to listen to this? Study the Upanishad, understand what is Omkar Upasana. How many people are there out there just chanting Om? There are so many people who are rejecting Om also. Just imagine, think of all those things. Yoga, people are trying to say yoga is not Hindu. So they want to do just the physical asanas, and if you chant Om, they say, no, don't chant Om, this is religious. Don't bring religion into picture. We will only come here to do exercise. If they have a religious belief, that is up to them. Let them do. They can do other exercises. Yoga, if you have come to, yoga is a science to realize Supreme. Not some physical asanas to reduce BP and cholesterol and blood pressure and, improve the flexibility of the body. That you do through aerobics and Zumba and do all kinds of other exercises. Why do you come to yoga for that? Yoga is to realize Supreme, and there Omkar Upasana will be there. So there are enough people who are rejecting Omkar Upasana. There are people who are doing Omkar Upasana without any understanding. There are people who are doing this Omkar Upasana as an alternative to reject God, the form of God. Now just think how many people even understand what is Omkar Upasana, and the Upanishad is explaining clearly this is called Omkar Upasana. When you chant Om, you focus on either A, U or Ma, and your bhavana should be A is Virat. So you can focus only on one. And this happens in other mantras also. Trambakam yajamahe sugandhim pushtivardhanam urvarukam iva bandhanan mrityor mukshiyam amritaat. Now in that you can focus on any one aspect and that will get internalized. Suppose I say Trambakam, I meditate on that Supreme Lord. Now when chanting the whole mantra, my special focus and bhavana is on Trambakam. So develop love, develop compassion, develop intuition. Develop love, develop objectivity and intuition, 3 eyes. So focus on those 3 values. One will internalize that. If somebody says Urvarukamiva, like a cucumber effortlessly detaches from the creeper. Just effortlessly drop. No body identification. Then the focus is on dropping body identification. Ma Amritad, if you focus on. May I not neglect immortality, meaning my intensity to realize the self and discover immortality must become very sharp, very deep. Bhagwan, please bless me with that. Now, whichever I focus on, that I will experience. Same way Omkar Upasana. A, U or Ma. And one meditates on Omkar. And one says total gross body or total subtle body or total causal body. That is proper way of doing Omkar Upasana. So Bhagwan, mantra here says this, that don't get scared. You will not be lost in this world and lost from the Supreme, and you are not like Trishanku hanging somewhere. You will get the Vishishta Gati, and there are enough provisions to protect your sadhana and ensure that you get the exclusive environment for that. Putting aside your other karmic baggage. See what a powerful assurance is that. So he says, Yadyapi evam omkaram eva ekamatra vibhagagnyah eva kevalo abhidhyayita ekamatram Sadadhyayita. So one is having the knowledge about this Ekamatra, that represents this Virat, and I serve the Lord and I meditate on that Supreme Lord. So the bhavana is not only during the time of Upasana, but even at other times, as much one can live in the attitude that I am not this one individual, I am this one body, I am this totality. So what I do affects everyone, what affects everyone affects me, what they do will affect this body, what this body does will affect all, and all this is me. You know, when a person was cutting the trees in the ashram, Gurudev wrote a firing letter to him. Somebody complained to Gurudev that this person is mindlessly cutting trees, Swamiji, in the ashram to build something where it is possible to build without cutting it, but this person is still cutting it. And he is not listening to what we are saying. So Gurudev wrote back saying, dare you cut the trees, they are my body. That is called Virat Upasana. I mean, Gurudev is a Jivan Mukta Santa, but I'm saying Virat means that the identification will be with the totality, not just all human beings. Please remember, all the gross bodies. That is called Virat. Plants, birds, animals. One will be loving, compassionate, kind. Well, one will not go and kill the animals and eat and then cut the trees and destroy the Prakriti. That is Virat Upasana. So with that bhav, one lives through the day also. And then Upasana also, one is remembering the total gross body. That is called Virat Upasana. So he says this, that even though one matra one knows and one is doing this particular Upasana and one becomes fully identified with that, tatra dhyayita sa tenaiva ekamatra vishishta omkar abhidhyanenaiva samveditaha sambodhitaha. Then one has identified totally with this Virat. Now we have to understand the mantra by itself is not saying death has happened. That is implied now because question was about that. So now while doing this Upasana, if one has died, what will happen? Kshiprameva jagatyam prithivyam. Immediately means quickly, not immediately, quickly jagatyam, in this world, prithivyam, Shankaracharya says prithivyam, on this earth, abhisampadhyate, that person will be born. Where? Kim? Manushya lokam, in the human yoni, Manushya loka. Anekani hi janmani jagatyam sambhavanti. Many births are possible in this world, but of all of them, tatra tam sadhakam jagatyam manushya lokam eva archa upanayanta upanigamayanti. The person will be led to Manushya Loka only, Manushya Yoni only. There are possibilities of any form of life on this earth, but Manushya Yoni one will come into. Who will lead that Jiva? What is the guarantee? The Upanishad is saying, okay, you will be born, but how will I be born? So he say, okay, don't worry. The Rigveda mantras will do this for you. Richa Rigveda Rupa hi Omkarasya Prathama Ekamatra Abhidhyata. The Rigveda mantra devatas or devata will lead this jiva to Manushya Loka. That is their responsibility. That is their portfolio. So you don't worry. You do your Upasana, rest Bhagavan will do. How Bhagavan will do? Through this Rigveda devata. Tena sa tatra manushya janmani this word is not clearly printed in my book. Dvijakhya it is. If anybody has that Sanskrit commentary, can you tell me what is that word? Because it is blank in my word. Dvija, and then there is one, some symbol is there, and Yaha is there. What is in between? I don't know. Dvijagriyaha. Agriya, Agriya means the great, correct. Agriya it is, right. I'm wondering what is there in between, right. Agra means foremost. So the foremost amongst the Brahmanas one will be born. Manushya Janmani Dvijagriyaha son. Now you say, why Brahmana Yoni? Why not any other Yoni, Swamiji? That is only because that person is Brahmanical in nature already. Sattva Guna Pradhan, that person is. That's why Upasana is being done. And also that in that Yoni, that person, in that Brahmana form, the person will be able to do sadhana. And the society will support that Brahmana. That's the structure also. The Brahmana is supported by the society. Brahmana is not a profession. They don't earn, and they don't have fees and all that. They live on Dakshina. And their focus is life of tapasya, of shraddha, of adhyayan, adhyapanam, yajanam, yajanam. That is the duty of Brahmanas, to study and teach. Gurukuls earlier didn't charge fees. People would give Dakshina, Guru Dakshina, and then that's how they will live. So their focus is not on earning money and accumulating and all that. Their focus is on knowledge. So that Brahman Yoni is for that. So he says they will be born in the Brahman Yoni where tapasa, by doing tapasya. So they will follow Ekadashi Vrat, and they will do, the Sankashti or Pradosha or so many vratas, daily Sandhya Vandan, many things they will do. Live a life of tapasya, brahmacharya, conserving the vitality of the body, shraddhaya, with faith, cha sampannaha, with all these qualities. So what is the guarantee? 4 guarantees are given. One will be born on Manushya Loka. One will be born on Bhuloka. Then Manushya Yoni. Then Brahmana. Then not a Bhogi Brahmana, a Yogi Brahmana, with tapasya, brahmacharya, shraddha, all these qualities. There Mahimanam Vibhutim Anubhavati. Na Vita Shraddho Yatheshta Cheshto Bhavati. Yoga Bhrashtaha Kadachidapi Na Durgatim Gachati. So there, this person continues the journey and Mahimanam Anubhavanti. One will experience the spiritual glory also, and in the world also one will have, basic things are taken care of, so one doesn't have to struggle. So the journey will continue, and one will not become faithless and indulgent and doing things as per one's whim and fancy. No. Such a person is called Yoga Bhrashta. Yoga Bhrashta Kadachidapi Na Durgatim Gachati. Yoga Bhrashta will never attain Durgati, because one is walking the path of yoga and the body dropped because of earlier prarabdha getting over. The body dropped. Now, how will the journey continue of that jiva? In this way, it will continue. Meaning Durgati, meaning one will not go to this other yonis, one will not go into Atala Vitala, Sutala, Talatala, all these lower worlds, nor one will go to those higher worlds of Swarga and all that. Meaning enjoyment oriented worlds or suffering oriented worlds, one will not go to. One will be born in Manushya Yoni. In such an environment. See, this is the power of Upasana. Akara Upasana. Focusing on a, matra a with the bhav, all this is, I am this total gross body. Now, further he continues for this total causal body, subtle body, the Ukar Upasana and Makar Upasana. We will have a class tomorrow morning also, and if need be on Monday. So with that, this question will get over, because whole February month we don't have class. I don't want to leave this in between. The continuity of thought should happen. So I want to finish this fifth questions answer. So tomorrow morning also 7 to 8. 1 hour tomorrow, and sorry, 7 to 8:30, and then we will see if we still need time. We will take up on Monday also. Any questions for today? Okay. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.